Hi, this is going to be a little teaching video. Many of you have already written me on the unsaved list or the universalist list because of my teachings on silence and how to practice silence and how to get rid of your thoughts and find your true self and things like that. So I know it sounds very new agey. I don't mind, but so that you will be comforted that I'm not already not completely leaving faith or Jesus or whatever. I'm gonna read you a Bible verse today. This is going to make me look more like a Christian as I am. But it depends on what you mean by Christian, but I'm not going there right now. So, there is this verse in the Psalms I really love. I have calmed and quieted myself. I am like a weaned child with its mother, like a weaned child, I am content. In other translations, it says, I quieted my soul as the mother quiets her child. I quiet my soul. Like a child on the mother's lap. That's how my soul is. At least the Hungarian translation says that, but I checked it out that most of the English translations say very different things about this verse. It was a KJV. So the reason why I talk that much about silence and quieting your soul and mind and reaching the place of complete rest and without any thinking, any worry, any mind activity, it's not because I try to be a guru or a psychologist or whatever. I know that it's a spiritual law and that's how our soul and spirit works. That's how we are designed, and we can try to pretend, oh, we are not like that, but that's our true self. It's in complete rest and silence, and not just like outer silence. Many times it's like it can be very active from the outside, but it's some kind of inner silence, inner rest in knowing that you don't have to worry about anything and solve issues and you are not responsible, you can let go. That kind of attitude in you is what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, Christianity has left silence, not altogether, but the mainstream charismatic realm. And we think that it's absolutely a cult or new age to silence your mind because we no longer do it. But if you look at all the gurus, they are very effective with silencing their minds, and when we are not really much bearing fruits, maybe we should check it out whether we do something wrong, whether we miss out something. And many times what we miss is that silence, that going deep into ourselves is what we don't do. On the bookshelves of Christian bookstores, there are so many books about tips what you should do and how you should do, and there is no book on, undoing, not doing anything, silence. So when we want a different result, we need different action, and when we realize that, we just, oh, we should act more or more persistent or more faithful, but actually the key is that we should do less. We should do less mind activity, less thinking, less yeah, less buzz in our minds. And in my way out of depression, I had to learn this. And there was a point when I was like quite okay, like I was feeling good, I was okay, I was almost like a healthy person. Then I realized that what we consider healthy in this society or in Christianity is not what we are designed for. Like, oh, it's okay to feel hurt when people hurt you, and we are only humans, okay, but if there is a greater freedom, why wouldn't we believe in it? I'm not saying that we should judge or blame ourselves. Like, if we feel hurt or something like that, we shouldn't have it as an expectation towards us. But if it is possible to be completely free of anything, then maybe we shouldn't lower the bar and we should believe for it. That it is possible. So I realized that so many thoughts and feelings, even if they are considered okay, they are not what I'm created for, and therefore I can neglect them just as much as I started to neglect all the terrible thoughts I had before. Like, I should kill myself. That's what I was thinking about for years. That was my only activity. And now that I'm free from that, I realize that, oh, I can be free from a whole other dimension of thoughts that are considered okay, but actually they are not part of my original design. Yes, and silencing your mind is also about that, like realizing who you really are, because the way you perceive things is not the reality, it's your perception. And there was a time in my life when everything hurt. Like, it breathing hurt because I had asthma. Even like noises, lights, everything hurt me. Like, I was so much in pain that all I could perceive was pain. And now I see that none of that was real. Like, I didn't actually have a problem, which is quite harsh to admit it, but I didn't. All I had is that I had this structure in my mind that caused me pain. And when you go into this silence beyond your thoughts, beyond your mind, you have a different world. You have this perspective of like everything is forever okay. And of course, there are things that are absolute wrong, but even those are perceived as powerless and temporary. So when it comes to mental health, the thing you can do for yourself is practicing silence, and it is an inner thing, like it's an inner attitude, a way of being, but many times if you don't have it, you should start with outer silence, like having times of complete silence in your day, and resting from all thoughts and things, just to relearn who you really are, relearn um, this reality of your being, because this is ground zero. This is not a great spiritual height. It is just who you really are, and this true you is covered under the layers of thoughts and conceptions and conception concepts and feelings, and 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 as you are in silence, you either don't think it is the best, but even if you have thoughts, you just don't take them very seriously. Like you don't jump on that train, you don't travel with it, or you just don't identify with them completely. Like, okay, I have these feelings, these thoughts, God is still good, he's still with me, I'm still fine. Yeah, I have these thoughts, but I don't really care, I don't pay that much attention. Yes, so when it comes to mental health, that's a great thing you can do for yourself, practicing silence. And first, when you do it, everything in you will resist it. It can happen. And there are a few breakthroughs in it, but there is a journey as well. So not everything happens at once. On your journey learning silence. And so first, and it happens to me many times, even nowadays, that when I enter silence, I have way much more thoughts than before. Like all the things I have forgotten in the recent weeks just come into my mind. All the delayed tasks I should do, everything. And I have even more noise in my head than I had when I was just working. And yeah, so it's first, it's tough. It can be hard, and all I can say is that it's worth it. And actually, now I don't do it for mental health issues. I do this silence thing because that's my thing with Jesus. Like, that's how I practice presence. I love worship and all of that, but I love this deep rest and silence in me. And I love when my mind is shut down. Even if I have thoughts, they are like in the background, and I watch them from a distance. It feels so great to watch your own thoughts and feelings from a distance and not completely identifying with them. And many times this place of silence is the place where God can take me anywhere from. So maybe we go into vision, maybe we go into enjoying each other's company, maybe we go into revelations and receiving great downloads and ideas. And I'm a creative, so that's where I get my ideas from. Yeah, so it's not that it doesn't feel natural first, because society and family and we ourselves have taught ourselves that you should be busy, you should be thinking about something, you shouldn't let go, it's dangerous. If you don't have the control, then everything is gonna collapse. And first, the silence will be very uncomfortable. It still can happen to me. I need to admit it. And yes, it's it feels unnatural because we have thought that busyness is our hope. And after a while, we can learn silence so much that it will feel natural and it is going to be our home. And I'm not talking about like you should be silent all the time or it's for the introverts. It's absolutely for extroverts as well. Um, it's more like an inner attitude, and when you are learning it in the first phase, you definitely need outer silence as well to find this place of inner silence. And after a while, you kind of learn it. I'm not there, but every now and then I realize that okay, I can be busy, I can sign contracts, call people, organize meetings, and I'm still in this silence in my mind. But many times I feel like I've left it and I just go back to literal silence so that I can reach my inner silence. And I think it has a culture in Christianity. It has always had, like David had this. The early Christians had this. The medieval mystics had this, and all these nuns and monks. They practiced presence a lot and practiced silence a lot. So maybe the only ones who miss it is that the small stream of charismatic Christianity. Um, and we name all the other religions like occult and operating with the devil's power, and maybe they do, but they at least realize that this is how things work. And many times we Christians don't really like to admit that something does work, and we try to do our way, like shout louder, pray louder, fast more, and we don't realize that less is more. We should step backwards, like we should do it in a different way. And yeah. So many gurus are really good at this, and they are like streaming the light of God because they take time to be in silence and realize their true self. They might not have a good theology, but at least they know they have the fruits of God within them. Okay, I'm not even going there now, but I just wanted to say that this is more than biblical and it is more than Christian. It's the way we are designed. Like that's this inner rest and peace and no worry and everything is okay attitude is what we are created for and created in. And this is our true self. This is our redeemed self. This is who we really are. And beyond the layers of all the lies and feelings and mental things, this true self is present, and this God in us is present. And if you uncover it, you realize that it has always been there. This is the funniest thing, is when I realized that even in our darkest seasons, like God was just as present as He is now. And I'm like, how silly it was to suffer, because God has always been there. Like, it was so ingrained to suffer. It's so funny to realize it now in hindsight. Yeah. So David had a lot of pressure. Like, everything was against him at a certain point. Like, Saul and most of the country, there were cities that banned him. Like, he was in threat all the time. And he says, I quieted my soul. Because he lived in a great silence and great rest, tending the sheep, and he learned how to quiet himself. He knew this place, and when everything went just crazy around him, he knew how to go back there. And that's how he could manage it mentally and emotionally, to be like an outcast and and uh, and fleeing continuously for years, because he knew this place in himself. So all I can say is that learning silence is not easy first, because we are not used to it, but it's worth it, and it's worth it for your mental health. You can realize who you really are and who you are not. Your whole perception of the world changes, how you see others, how you see the world's happenings. And this is the place where you can meet God and you can meet you. So it's pretty important. And so for all these great purposes, it is worth to invest into silence. But I need to say that if you start to practice it, you realize that you don't need to have any goals with that. It is worth doing it just for itself. So this uncovering and revealing God in you is the thing itself. Like, it's worth for itself. It can have many positive effects, but it doesn't really make sense anymore when you start to do it, and you feel the joy of it. But if you don't have this attitude that, oh, silence is good in itself, then just do it for its benefits, and then you will see. Then you will see what's gonna happen to you. um yes. So just do it with all the struggles that come with it first. It's gonna be uh, worth it, and you will be thankful uh, to yourself that you've started this journey later. There was a season in my life when I was part of a great youth mission. You would call it a revival in the US, I think, because there were thousands of young people gathering every week. And I was part of this team, and the leaders were very supportive of me. They wanted me to go big and be a famous minister or something. They were very kind. And I was like, what I feel like is retreating and spending a lot of time with God. And that's how it started, that I spent so much time with God that I couldn't come up with enough worship and prayer ideas. So I had to stay in silence, which is, I thought I was not good enough to like fill the time with God, with activity. And then later I realized like, oh, this was the whole purpose of practicing the presence, to finally find the end of my activities. Never mind. So this was this season when I deliberately said no to promotion many times, and because I felt like God wants to work on me and with me, and on my health, on my relationship with Him. And now all those famous ministers was I was doing this mission with, they need to go through all that inner stuff now, because they didn't have time for it back then, and now they are suffering a bit with all the mess in their heads. And now I'm doing great, because back then I wasn't famous. I was just a little silly girl who spent most of her time with God. So it's crazy that I didn't feel like it was a rational decision, always saying no, most of the time saying no to all the promotions and just being in silence. But now it's quite obvious that God was right. What a surprise, but He was right. And many times practicing silence and taking time to be in silence feels like waste of time and not loving and caring towards others. But it's such a lie. The most you can do to love others is to spend time in silence and allow God to work on you. So every time when I need to travel and I don't have that much time, like waiting in silence and spending time in silence, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry for the people I should meet today, because I know what I'm like without entering silence, without quieting my soul. Yeah, many times the first half an hour or 2 hours is spent just quieting my soul, because my mind is extremely all over the place. So I'm not practicing it because I'm like that. No, I'm very much not like that. And even if nothing happens, just neglecting terrible thoughts and not completely agreeing with terrible thoughts, and then I have to do my things. And then I realize that, nothing happened, but I'm not the same. I react so differently. I see things so differently. So even if you don't have a great shiny experience by the end of 2 hours of silence, I can guarantee that there is a change happening in you that you are not aware of. And it was worth it. Every time I feel like, oh, it was a waste of time, a few hours later I realize, oh, but I'm not the same. So it's worth doing it, and it's a great investment for your mental health, for your relationship with God, for the way you see the world and see others and treat others. But even more than that, it is life itself. It is who you really are, God dwelling in you, and that's what you will see in silence. So it's kind of the meaning of life. And so very soon you will do it just for itself. But it's okay to have goals at first. You will be tricked. You come for a goal and you stay for itself. Okay, God bless you guys. Have a great silence. Bye.